Blue Line. Broadcasting live from Chickies and Pete's, tonight's show is brought to you by Han & Stone Spa, Pat Dion Beverages, The Capitol Grill, Chickies and Pete's, Payroll Service Solutions, and Independence Blue Cross. We now go live to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Now, here are your hosts, former Flyer Brad Marsh and Paul Jolovitz.
And thank you very much, Matt Miro, and welcome to what might be our final On the Ice presented by Independence Blue Cross of the season. Flyers are going to need a minor miracle to get to the playoffs, but the chance is still there. So let's be optimistic, because the Flyers have lost 8 in a row, but they haven't lost their playoff place yet. We're going to talk about it tonight with Brad Marsh, my co-host. How you doing, Brad?
Very good. How are you doing, buddy?
Very well, thank you. And then we'll talk about the mood down at the Wells Fargo Center as well. We have a guy that we love to have on the show, former defenseman. Did you guys play together? Played together in the 80s. There we are. Eddie Hospodar, who's been through the playoffs, been suspended in the playoffs, done everything in hockey. Thanks for being here, Eddie.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Brad, you work with the alumni. Obviously, this is a hockey team that wasn't supposed to do much this year. They exceeded expectations by 1,000,000%, hit a wall, whatever, after the streak against the good teams. The bad teams are playing loose, and the Flyers can't score. They can't stop teams from scoring. Tortorella doesn't know what to do. It happens to teams. It's happening at the wrong time for the Flyers. What can you do in a situation like this as one player where you just think, all hell's broken loose?
Well, where do you go? The thing is you asked about one player. Like each player, that old corny saying, you look in the mirror and you have to do what you do best.
Yep.
And, the muckers muck and the scorer scores, the checkers check, and you just have to look after your own game, and hopefully you get a bounce, something happens that gets you feeling a little excited, and then everything kind of meshes together because everybody is looking after their own game.
I'm sorry to jump in, but I'm sure that as a team in that locker room, they're not thinking that, we want it to be over.
Of course
it's
not.
Just the weirdest thing. But I also thought, wow, there's been these wild. The last team in, the play-in team in the NCAA tournament. Maybe they're one and done, but that's cool. They get the magic.
Fans
a couple of years ago, we were talking about the Flyers winning against the New York Rangers.
Yep,
and
2010. And tonight, next week, if a lot of things have to go right to make the Flyers and the Caps the last night of the season, a game just like that one, Eddie.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
Yeah. So
overtime in a shootout.
And you're in, and in the old days when the top 16 teams got in and everybody, they just put all the teams in one big pile. The Rangers got in, and we got it squeaked in 15th place on the last week. And then next thing you know is because we're in 15th place, we drew the LA Kings with Marcel Dion, Dave Taylor, and Charlie Simmer and all that. And
Triple Crown line.
And beat them. And then we played St. Louis Blues with not Fedoric, but
would have been Bernie Federico.
Fedoric. Guys, and beat them, and then ran into the Islanders. So, we got in, and everybody, that's all we'll remember. If they get into the playoffs and make a little bit of a run, but the teams exceeded expectations, but we were all hoping and seeing them in the playoffs.
That's the thing, Brad. When a team, it's a universal quandary for fans. When a team exceeds expectations and then falls flat at the end of the year, are you upset because of the exceeded expectations that you were assuming playoffs? Are you saying this is a young team, this very well could have happened, I should have been ready for it? How do you handle this mentally if you're a player, if you're a fan, and if you are who you are, Brad Marsh?
I think regardless of who you're talking to, a player, fan, myself, or any alumni, you're disappointed. Because, you take a step back. Yes, it's been a good year. It's been an exciting year. Are we ahead of the rebuild curve or whatever? Yes, we are. But everybody has been so excited right from this drop of the puck, right from training camp. Everything seemed to be falling into place for the Flyers to take that first step into the playoffs ahead of the projections. But if we had this losing streak out of the gate, and now we're hot going down the stretch, everyone would be excited. But the way it played out, you can't help but be disappointed.
All right, so now you're John Tortorella. You play the Rangers tomorrow night. They're playing for the President's Trophy. They have a little pressure on them, which the Canadiens and other teams haven't.
But sometimes, if I could jump in, though, sometimes
Sure.
you're playing a non-playoff team. They're playing for ice time. Columbus,
Absolutely.
for example, they got a new GM coming in, et cetera, et cetera. They're playing for contracts. They're playing for ice time. So sometimes the non-playoff team is more dangerous or harder to play against than the team. Yes, Rangers could still win the President's Cup, but if someone has a boo-boo, they're resting that player.
I agree 100% with that, Eddie. I think that the bad teams are the most dangerous at the end of the year in any sport.
Well, on the other side of things, when I played in Hartford and the season was over February 1st and you still had 6 weeks left, or you're playing as well as for the team, but for yourself, because people are watching you and seeing what's going on and how players can move around nowadays with being.
Well, you're playing for a job. I mean, you're not
Yep.
guaranteed that if you're terrible and you play, whatever, they're going to bring in Bob Hospodar next year.
And you have to show you're a professional, and you have to put it out and leave it out there on the ice, and then say, because, geez, going home first week it's a long summer, man.
All right, so Brad, you got Coos, the new captain. A locker room of people sitting there like zombies last night, they said in Montreal. Rookies who have stopped playing. A goaltender who clearly is overplayed, played every game almost since January. Lowest save percentage in the league. I think the problem is they can't stop anybody in addition to not being able to score. If you're Tortorella, you have multiple problems. He said they're good people, they're doing the right thing, but things aren't working now. What do you say to them before tomorrow night? What can you say to try to ignite whatever spark is there?
Well, I don't know. As you were asking the question, I'm trying to, like Eddie was referring back to a positive experience in the Rangers and a negative experience with Hartford. I'm trying to think, like, it's tough. It's tough. There's no way around it. You're sitting in the dressing room, the coach comes in. Do you listen to him? Do you take what he says to heart? Do you listen to your teammates? It's tough to be sitting there because everything was so positive with this team 2 weeks ago, 17 days ago or whatever. And then just in a blink of an eye, it's gone. And so we're all professionals. They have to, as I said right from the get-go there, they have to take it upon themselves. There's nothing that a coach can say to them. There's nothing that, like back in our day, our dad would call up and give us what for. There's nothing that anybody can say, boys, what the hell's going on? It has to be the individual.
Eddie, you were an enforcer in your day. We've heard different things in sports. A basketball coach takes a technical foul. Football, the coach goes berserk to show his team and try to get a spark. Obviously, a fight with Nick Delorier, if he plays, isn't going to make a team
all
play.
right, if you're talking that, but it can't be a penalty that you're the reason you're putting our team in a hole because of your action to take that penalty. Sometimes a penalty can be a good thing, give you a momentum, start it. But if you leave the team in an awkward position, and just because of a non-effort, lack of play, or just stupidity, that's going to get you out the door.
Guys, one of the things that fascinates me, and we were talking with the manager, Keith, before the show, it happened with the Eagles, obviously. It's happening with the Flyers. You guys were pro athletes. Obviously, I wasn't. Everybody starts to play bad for no apparent reason. I mean, is it contagious? Is it mental? Do you sit there thinking, why is this happening? How does it happen to an entire team, Brad, Eddie, that one thing goes bad and then another goes bad, another goes bad, and now you've lost 8 in a row and everybody's staring at the sky going, how the hell did this happen? How does it happen?
Over to you, Ed.
I think what will happen when it happens, are you trying too hard now? Are you looking, is it something?
Well, the old story, they're squeezing their stick. They're squeezing their stick, and they used to take that beautiful pass from the defenseman. They used to cradle it, cup it, pass it. Now it's just bouncing off their stick because they're squeezing it too hard.
Or you might have missed it, but it bounced and it went over somebody's stick and out of the zone. But now you missed it, and it's on the other person's stick, and it's in your net. And now you're dwelling on, these things happen to, like, instead of we'll make our own bounces. We'll make our things. Like, everything we do is, I turned left, I should have gone right.
Do you guys agree with me that while everything's going wrong, they've had injuries to the defense, obviously. Drysdale just back, and Ristolainen's gone, and Nick Sealer's just back. The defense has been awful. The goaltending's been worse, lowest save percentage in the league. So while everything's going wrong, the heart of it to me is the fact that the Flyers, especially last night, 5 goals in the second period, just can't stop anybody from putting the puck in the net. Do you agree with me, Brad?
Well, all the activity in and around the trade deadline, trade Walker, trade Sealer, trade this guy. And the management team, I think, had made their mind up for the betterment of the future of the club. They were going to move a defenseman and get what they got back for him. Good trade, but at the same time we got, and you mentioned it, Jolly, we traded Walker. Sealer gets injured. Like, he blocked so many shots, and he broke his foot on a non-block shot. He was just standing in front of the net, and the puck hits him. Drysdale went down, and so right away we're missing 3 defensemen out of, which was a pretty good defense all season for us. And so it was unfortunate at that time we had those injuries. But, your question prior to, like, hockey, unlike the other sports, there's a lot of mistakes in a hockey game. I made a lot of mistakes as a defenseman, but we had Pelle Lindbergh or Ron Hextall that bailed us out. A forward would make a mistake, but the defenseman would be there to break up that neutral zone pass or whatever. In hockey, mistakes happen, but when you play as a team, you're always there to back up your teammates, et cetera, et cetera. And right now, when a mistake happens on the team, it's in the net. Or a defenseman pinches in, it's an odd man rush, and then they score. And like we said, everything is going wrong, and the players are trying to back each other up, but it ain't working.
Yeah, you guys play with Dave Poulin. Obviously, you know about Bobby Clark, one of the great captains in the history of sports. Is Sean Couturier, he's had his own problems on and off the ice this year. Is there anything he and that C can do, or is that just a symbol at this point?
I'm too far away from the club to comment about a team leader in the room. So,
I've always said, you look at any successful team in any sport. In hockey, yes, there's a C and 2 A's. A successful team has to have 10 captains.
You know what I was,
and anybody can be a captain. Anybody can be. I shouldn't say. I don't mean anybody can be a captain.
No, I know
but
what you mean.
have to have the leadership in the dressing room, and it doesn't come from a C or 2 A's. You got to have 10 guys that are going to be working together to right the ship.
And on a side note there, Brad, and you'll know how tough Mike was on the sub players when we didn't play. We worked the day of a game with Billy Barber after skating drills, knocking us out. And there's a lot of young guys in that group and all that, and I found myself as like, all right, I don't have a C or an A, but out of the groups that's not playing, like, all right, we're going to be whipped, but when it's our chance to put on that sweater, we're going to be prepared and able to go and pull along. So even though there's leaders on the ice, there's a whole bunch of guys that are going like with the team everywhere and should be happy they're in the NHL, but they're not playing. So I'm happy, but I want to play. And so you got to be ready to play, and yet you've got to have that great mood, a good mindset on handling how to be out of a lineup.
All right, well, last night the first draft pick, the Slovakian kid, gets a hat trick. And the announcers, Timmy and Jimmy, both on TV and radio, kept saying, if the Flyers can get one in, one by him, maybe it turns the light on, maybe it opens the floodgates. Is that just talk, Brad, or is that something that can work? One goal means exactly one goal. Doesn't mean you're going to score the next 9 shots. Is it something where you're looking for any momentum, anything to start a fire in any way?
Yeah, and sometimes it's the luckiest bounce, it's the luckiest break, and a goal scorer that's in a slump. You just don't get your ass in front of the net, a puck's going to hit you and go in, and at the end of the day, they don't ask how it went in, just how many. And that's what goal scorers do. And I don't mean to sound corny or cliche. Like we just have to keep working. We'll get a bounce, and the tide will turn.
All righty.
This could turn out. Pull it off, squeak in.
Good.
Everybody's just going to play them. Is going to say. They won 2 games.
We need another solar eclipse, so we need everything to line up one.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah, I'm not giving up hope yet, though. Even though
the Flyers have never made the playoffs in a year in which a total solar eclipse of the sun
you're
has
making
happened.
stuff up.
But let's go. Forget hockey for a second. Did you see the eclipse? I was expecting nothing. I was expecting, okay, it goes in front of the sun. It's a phenomenon. When I saw it, I watched it on TV. I didn't have the glasses. I got emotional. I'm not going to lie to you. It just gave me like how small we are in this incredible universe, how powerful nature is. I know it sounds hokey, but it got to me. Did it get to you guys at all?
I just saw a bunch of clouds.
It was cloudy.
And you know what? I'll agree. It's cool. It's neat. It doesn't happen often. But anything in the solar system does not excite me at all.
Well, I'm a nature lover, a fisherman, hunter. Catch what I take, but always replace. I think that
how do you replace?
How these people figure out when the moon and the sun are all going to align, but to go outside and see it be dark and then put on those funny glasses and see a little right out of it, it's like, wow, amazing.
Smart people figure that stuff out.
And then people want to travel to those places. The moon.
You're saying how do they figure it out? This is a neat story, totally unrelated to anything to do with sports. But in Ottawa, we have an unbelievable war museum, unbelievable, and the Tomb of the Unknown, and it's brand new. And the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier sits in a room, and they have a slit in the ceiling. And on the 11th hour of the 11th day, 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month is our Remembrance Day. And somebody figured it out where the sun was going to be, and it comes through that slit in the ceiling and shines right on the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Now you talk about pressure, standing at the free throw line, with the free throw or a penalty shot in overtime or whatever. How would you like to have been that architect that designed that
and poked the hole
and waiting for the first time that the sun was coming through? Is it going to miss? Is it going to be off by 2 inches? So anyhow,
maybe we can talk to that architect about maybe putting the puck on a Flyer stick in scoring position Thursday night at the Garden. We're going to take a quick break, talk more hockey. This very energetic Chickies and Pete's, great Chickies and Pete's. We want to thank Chickies and Pete's for being our hosts all year. Matt Miro Reese with the station, Chris Irmer, our producer. We come back to On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross, live from Chickies and Pete's, right here on 1490 WBCB. You can watch on YouTube. We are back right after this. Stay with us, folks.
Hi, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's. Relax and enjoy a cocktail from our seasonal cocktail menu. Try one of our delicious, perfectly blended options like strawberry lemonade. How about a raspberry sangria, blend of Pinot Grigio, raspberry liqueur, and bubbly lemon lime soda? Or maybe a Hendrick's Gimlet or a Patron Tropical Mojito is more your style. Enjoy one of these or many others from our Chickie and Pete's sensational seasonal cocktail selection. Only at Chickies and Pete's.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
Head out to Dion Square, located at South Oxford Valley and South Olds Boulevard, to get all your essentials in one place, with the following businesses ready to serve you: Pat Dion Beverages, CVS Pharmacy, Hair Cuttery, Smile Culture Dental, Biomat, Liberty Auto Tags, Pennsylvania Fine Wine and Spirits, Lee's Hoagie House, R&J Smoothies and Juices, AutoZone, and First National Bank and Trust of Newtown. Make Dion Square your one stop for all your shopping needs at South Oxford Valley Road and South Olds Boulevard in Fairless Hills.
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood Restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
We now return to Chickies Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyer Brad Marsh.
We are back. You're listening On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross, live from Chickies and Pete's right here on 1490 WBCB. It's time now for the Independence Blue Cross Live Fearless Player of the Week. Not a lot of players have played great in the last week, so that gives us a chance to say this week it's the Fearless fans for being with this team through a roller coaster ride of emotions, always behind their team, greatest fans in hockey, Philadelphia Flyers, and they're still behind them. Remember to choose Independence Blue Cross today and begin to live fearless. With Brad Marsh, our guest Eddie Hospodar. Eddie, if you're a fan right now, a Flyer fan who have been thinking playoffs, gotten excited, this has happened, what are you thinking for now and your expectations of next year based on not much?
I'm still expecting them to make the playoffs.
Why not?
I don't know. I haven't looked at any numbers, but it just says a Flyers fan. I want them to make it. I'm really happy that what the Flyers did this year exceeded everybody's, or at least my expectation. And Brad, you've said others before. What they've done with how they've handled the new management on pressure points with goalie situations, trades, guys not want to be here. They didn't let things linger. They nipped it right away, calling the shots, and I think that's keeping the focus on going north, moving ahead. And I'm really proud of how they've played so far this year and expect them this to keep on going. I think Torts can be known as is he too tough? I don't know, but I like his attitude. I like the way he works. And
let me throw this in there out of nowhere. I mean, this really hadn't been brought up, and it may be irrelevant, and I realize it could be relevant. Part of me thinks Torts doesn't want to coach next year. Wants to go up to the front office to occupy what role. I have no idea. Danny and Jonesy didn't hire Torts, are obviously happy with him. He's done an amazing job this year. Brad, does he coach the Flyers next year?
Well, someone else said he'd go in the front office, but
to do what?
He's never been in the front office. He's never shown any desire to be in the front office.
Yeah, he did in Columbus. He wanted to be there, and they had no room for him.
Well, I guess that's why you're the host of the show. But I don't know. I just think, yes, the season's positive, but what's happened in the last X number of games, weeks, whatever, is it cause for concern? We talked earlier that there's so many players playing for jobs right now in the non-playoffs. But, we're a young team. There's still a lot of players auditioning for next year. So I think if the season would have ended a month ago, we go into the summer and, boy, we're pretty good. We tweak here, we tweak here. Now, the summer for the hockey management team is not quite as easy as it was a month ago. But that's the evolution of building a team and rebuilding a team. And, they'll figure it out. They've made good decisions so far, and we'll see what. That's why they get paid the big bucks.
I think they made great decisions. I mean, Danny's been ahead of the curve on the rebuild. Jonesy. They go into the offseason now, though, Eddie. If they don't make it, and again, they can make it, we all hope they do make it. Nobody hopes they don't. But if they don't, where does Danny stand? What's he looking for? I mean, to me, you got to find that star. You have Mitchkov coming over. You got the new goalies who may be whatever. You got to find a goaltender for next year. What's Danny's first order of business? This may be our last show, so if they don't make it, and you're Danny Briere, what's your first order of business for the offseason? I mean, you have the draft, obviously, free agency.
With not being an absolute guy that watches it every day, make sure his core players he's happy with.
Who are the core?
It's for him to decide. I can't.
Yeah, we're not in the dressing room. But one of the core players, the biggest pieces to the building the future, could be a fourth line guy, could be a third, whatever. We don't know what makes up that dressing room, and I think what they're going to do is just analyze every position and the depth of every position, from goalie to defense to forwards. And I say forwards, I mean left wingers, center, and right wingers. And okay, who are the best people? Like Tippett, he's good. Okay, who can we find that's going to make him better? We need a player to augment his skills. Who are the keepers? Konechny? Okay, well, can we find somebody that makes Konechny even better? Or Konechny had a breakout year this year. Man, he was awesome this year. Okay, we got to make sure that he has another breakout year next year.
How about somebody for Austin Matthews? He's only scored 66 goals this year. I think Toronto's looking to trade him to the Flyers for some reason. Love to have him. I mean, you need a number one guy. Obviously you're not going to get Austin Matthews, but Konechny's a wonderful player.
Well, let's go back here a little bit. Yeah, Austin, he scored a lot of goals. He hasn't won a playoff series yet.
So he's got the McDavid syndrome.
Well, at least McDavid has won a playoff series.
Yeah.
But
still, the Flyers would love to have, obviously, either one of those two guys.
Well, yeah, so would 31 other teams.
You know what?
Yep.
Brad, I'll go back to, Mark Howe, we had solid, but not to knock it. I thought we had great teams, and, maybe some of our team just didn't get the accolades out there for being as good as we were. I mean,
100%.
I think Mark Howe, Hexy or Pelly got it, but there was you, McCrimmon, Davey Poulin finally ended up getting it.
Proper.
But then we could take a look at all the guys that the waiters around it. Lindsey Carson, the two twins. These guys came in and worked there and worked. Ricky Tocchet had to work himself into that, but I don't think Rick, while in Philly or whatever, was even Zezel. They worked hard, but I don't think they got the accolades that they deserved.
Winning cups gets you the ultimate accolades. Obviously, Tocchet taking a great team in this year. We hear guys all the time. Playoffs are a different season. The playoff beard. The camaraderie, the 2-month run, if you get there. You guys both played. Brad, you made the finals a couple times. You almost won a cup. Eddie, you were in a bunch of playoffs. What's that like? How much does a game jump up? Obviously, you can't be more than 100%, but what are the Stanley Cup playoffs like, and how much would it give any Flyer who's never been there an experience burst or whatever the mojo is to be in Lord Stanley's Cup playoffs?
Well, the playoffs, what it's all about, and whether they've been in the Stanley Cup playoffs, they've been in junior playoffs, they've been in college playoffs, they've been in minor hockey playoffs. These kids are used to the playoff scenario, the excitement that it brings. And I don't know if kids play road hockey anymore, but Ed, you'll remember back playing road hockey, and you're playing whatever road you're on or tennis court that you're on, and you're in the Stanley Cup semifinals. You're in the Stanley Cup playoffs. That's Game 7 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And so in an athlete's mind, they have rehearsed this whole playoff scenario many, many, many times. And so the guys know exactly what's at stake here for whatever reason, they're squeezing their stick. Everything's going against them right now. They're not going out and losing on purpose, for heaven's sakes,
they're doing their best.
Stinking the joint out on purpose. It's tough to play when you've got a piano on your back.
And they know that it is so much fun and so exciting having all the eyes on the final 16, the final 8, the final 4, and going through and knowing that
back when we
played, it was 2 out of 3 in the first series.
Yeah, so
when 79, or your second year.
Yeah.
Because we played the Rangers and lost in a best of 3, and I scored the winning goal.
Well, thanks for bringing it up.
They've tweaked a million ways. You got the wild card night.
I've told you 100 times.
Yeah, but the thing is, Eddie was saying about all the eyes on you. Back when we played, that was cool because there was no cable TV back then like there is now.
Yeah.
And so
just starting.
When you were on TV, you felt it in the dressing room. You were excited that back home the boys
Hockey
were
night
watching.
in Canada were watching.
And then, as you said, with each passing round, the whole world, hockey world, just doubled and then tripled and quadrupled. And man, you were living it. It was cool.
I remember when I was at Penn, the Copper Still, a bar across the South Street Bridge, had ESPN, this new sports network that's obviously what it is now. And when the Islanders had to run, my best buddies from Long Island, we used to go watch the Islanders in the Cup there. It's huge crowds. Now it's every night, every game, everywhere. It's hockey's growing. It's great. They've tweaked the playoffs, wild card, whatever. Hockey-wise, we're going to take a quick break now. You want the Caps to lose as many games as they can. The Flyers can get them next Tuesday. Obviously, the Red Wings in. Now Pittsburgh's in. Now the Islanders are in. Flyers will have multiple teams. You want all those teams to lose every night. So don't just watch the Flyers.
I know, buy a lottery ticket.
Yeah, why not? Flyers got a lottery ticket. Let's see if they can cash it in. We're here at Chickies and Pete's in beautiful Malvern, Pennsylvania. Stephen Lawler pushing all the buttons. He's done it all year. Thank you so much, Stephen. We're back with Brad Marsh and Eddie Hospodar, our guest, as an energetic crowd has dinner, drinks, and a great time with a million TVs on at Chickies in Malvern, where we are coming back in a second. Stay with us.
Hi, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's. Wrap up your workday with the all-new Chickies and Pete's Happy Hour with unbeatable specials weekdays from 4 to 6 p.m. Enjoy half-price orders of Chickies medium tender wings, one of our tasty and delicious pizzas, or an order of mouth-watering hot, cold, or fried shrimp. Plus $3 domestic bottled beers, $5 Tito's, and $6 seltzers. It's the all-new Happy Hour weekdays 4 to 6 p.m. only at Chickies and Pete's.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or 636-9700.
Head out to Dion Square, located at South Oxford Valley and South Olds Boulevard, to get all your essentials in one place, with the following businesses ready to serve you: Pat Dion Beverages, CVS Pharmacy, Hair Cuttery, Smile Culture Dental, Biomat, Liberty Auto Tags, Pennsylvania Fine Wine and Spirits, Lee's Hoagie House, R&J Smoothies and Juices, AutoZone, and First National Bank and Trust of Newtown. Make Dion Square your one stop for all your shopping needs at South Oxford Valley Road and South Olds Boulevard in Fairless Hills.
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
At Independence Blue Cross, we take care of the people who take care of you. Everyday heroes like firefighters, teachers, farmers, and healthcare workers. Doctors and hospitals across the region have IBX, and they know what it means to have reliable access to care. So whether you're saving lives or just trying to live a healthier life, count on IBX, the region's #1 health insurer for 85 years. Learn more at IBX.com.
Joseph Anthony Retreat Spa and Salon is the true retreat from the everyday, with locations in Glen Mills, Springfield, and Center City. Joseph Anthony is a premier salon and spa destination that offers unique and luxurious services such as the soft pack float and hydrofacial. The Center City location, located on the 5th floor of the beautiful Lowe's Hotel, is now open and features an exclusive summer menu where you can indulge in the Joseph Anthony experience in the exquisite Turkish bath. Joseph Anthony's little black card is the perfect gift for all your loved ones' relaxation needs. Call or go online to josephanthony.com. That's josephanthony.com.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyer Brad Marsh.
And on what might be our last show from this beautiful Chickies and Pete's in Malvern, we're thanking everybody. It takes a army to put this together every week, and my co-host, I can't thank you enough, Brad Marsh, the ultimate professional every week. You lend so much to the show. You're an amazing director of alumni affairs with the Flyers, or the alumni. You coach the Warriors. Hope to do it again next year, Brad. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. It's been fun, and really, I've missed the last couple of weeks, and this is the first show all year where it's been some sort of a negative conversation, because every other show has been positive, because everything's positive about this season. With the, you go back, everyone's talking about the gauntlet. They called it the gauntlet, where we played the 6 teams, the really good team. We played really good during that 6 games. We only got, what did we get, 5 points out of the 12?
6 points out of 7 games.
Or whatever. But we outplayed the vast majority of those teams, but we lost for some reason, and through no fault of anybody, goaltending, defense. We outplayed those teams, but we didn't get a bounce. We didn't get this. And everyone's sitting there thinking, man, we just outplayed the Rangers. We just outplayed the Bruins. And even the game in Boston that we lost, what a shootout that was.
Yeah.
Like, everything was so good. If we get in the playoffs, we can beat these top teams.
Yeah, it's hard to fathom, but same team, same sweater. Let's hope they can turn the switch. Also want to thank Bernie Perrant for doing a great job, and his wife Jeannie for helping us out all year. Riley Cote the last couple weeks. Thanks to our friends Ellen and Jack for coming every week and supporting us. Ellen, our photographer. It's now time for the Smart Stat of the Week, brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Our buddy Danny has sponsored this show for a long time. Thank you so much, Danny. You do a great job. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY. That's 1-866-PAY-EASY. Today's Smart Stat, there are 3 games left for the Flyers to hang their hats on. As John Tortorella said last night, we got a good group here. We got 3 more games to play. Let's do it the right way. Go Flyers. That was your Flyers Smart Stat of the Week. Once again, brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for the smart choice in payroll services. Payroll Service Solutions caters to small and medium-sized business to handle all of your payroll needs. Call them once again at 1-866-PAY-EASY. Eddie Hospodar here, Brad Marsh, our co-host. Eddie, next year you might be watching the Salt Lake City Coyotes, who today they took a step toward moving from Arizona to Salt Lake. Teams move all the time, expansion teams. What was your gut when you saw this? Is hockey ready?
Well, actually, just heard about it minutes ago, and I guess I'm happy for it. I'm disappointed because they had to go through all the playing in the college rink and doing all that. Tough on players to feel like we're an NHL team, but we're not really an NHL team. And the game of hockey in America just keeps growing. Salt Lake City's, from what I was told back in the day when they had a minor league team there, everybody loved playing for it. A lot of
You guys ever
Mormon-
play in Salt Lake anywhere along the road?
Nope, never made it there.
Brad, what do you think? Salt Lake City or whatever they become. The dumbest name in any sport, nobody even argues this. When the New Orleans Jazz moved to Utah and they kept the nickname the Utah Jazz, if there's as much jazz in Utah as there is, fill in the blank, whatever.
Well, I think they got to get rid of the name Coyotes just because that's been a nothing franchise since day one, and it's about time the NHL realized.
Fresh coat of paint.
It's about time the NHL realized that the gamble didn't pay off. And like, how many years has it been? 20 years we've been looking for a home for the Coyotes.
Yep.
Where did they come from anyhow? What, Phoenix?
Not Minnesota.
Minnesota became Dallas.
Yeah.
Minnesota went to Dallas.
Were they an expansion team? I mean, Gretzky pushed the NHL into the Sun Belt with the L.A. and obviously Nashville.
I can't remember if they were an expansion or a team moved there.
We'll look it up. We'll Google it. All right, guys, it's a playoff start, and we're a little ahead of ourselves. The Flyers can make it. They can make a run. It'll be a miracle, but if they do, we'll all be happy. Boston won the President's Trophy last year. First-round exit to the Islanders. President's Trophy seems to be almost a negative. You got the Rangers. You got Florida. Connor McDavid and Edmonton have been hot since they changed coaches. Rick Tocchet in Vancouver. Any thoughts on maybe who's going to raise Lord Stanley's Cup 2 months in advance, Brad?
No, not really. I'm kind of like Eddie. I follow the Flyers, and I see the scores of the other games, but I don't sit and watch the games, so I can't tell you who's got the edge and who has this. And I think Colorado with their defense that they have,
and McKinnon's been great.
You still got to favor Colorado. I don't know if the Flyers don't make the playoffs. Usually, I cheer for the Canadian teams that are left, just because the sport means so much to the public up in Canada.
Well, you mentioned Colorado. They got Sean Walker, who's certainly not Cole McCarr, their best defenseman, but he's fit in perfectly there and done a great job, a little Flyer connection out there.
Yeah, but I cheer for, like I said, the Canadian teams. Then I'll keep an eye on the teams that I played for.
Yeah.
Because you want them to do good. But I tell you what, I've always cheered for Carolina. Rod Brind'Amour. He's such a classy guy. I never played with Rod. I know him just to say hi to him. I've talked to him a number of times. To me, he is the ultimate player's coach. He seems to be just one of the guys. And it's a classic team that has never had the budget to go out and buy the big stud or anything.
Right.
They do it with great coaching from Rod Brind'Amour. So I'll be cheering for Carolina.
All right, before I ask you this question, Eddie, we've got great coaching from Rod Brind'Amour. We've gotten great producing from Chris Irmer, who has Googled this, and I should have remembered this. I didn't. I'll plead guilty. The Winnipeg Jets, the World Hockey Association, became the Coyotes, moving there on July 1st, 1996. The last 28 years have been a muck of muck, so they became the Coyotes, become Salt Lake.
We should have known that.
Thank you,
We
Chris.
should have known that. And yet, the Winnipeg Jets, when they first started in the WHA, were the team of teams with Hedberg, Nielsen, and the great Bobby Hall.
Yep.
Plus one of the Swedes, Kenton Nielsen was a Winnipeg Jet, I believe.
They're fighting to make the playoffs now.
Hedberg or Lars Eric.
Well,
they had a good team, but they brought in all the Swedes.
Swedish.
Yeah.
They brought a bunch of Swedes in.
Yeah.
Swedish national team.
But then you got Winnipeg, and right at the top of the league, they're not selling out.
Nope. They're small. I mean, there's nothing around there, but they do what they do. Canadian cities support hockey so well normally. Eddie, you play with the Rangers. You're a hockey fan. Who are you going to lean toward?
Well, I'll go right back to want the home team. It's really easy to Flyers first.
Sure.
But then going up the road to New York for the teams I've played with before, and that includes down in Carolina, and Rod Brind'Amour's class guy. But then I'll look at Rick Tocchet too. I'd be like, and like Craig Berube when he was in, I was all pulling for the Chief deep down inside.
Is he coaching the NHL next year, guys? To me, I can't imagine an NHL without Craig, whether it's here if John Tortorella leaves or somewhere else. I think Craig wants to coach again. Brad, we had him on the show this year. If I was a better, and I am, I think he's definitely going to coach next year.
100%. Where? I don't know. I think with his resume, he can pretty much pick and choose, and he'll wait the dust settles after the playoffs and to see who fires who. A lot of rumors that he's going to Ottawa because they can't start next year with Jacques Martin as the coach. But that was a hot rumor when Chief came in for Friday Night Fights. That was a hot rumor that he was leaving Friday Night Fights and going behind the bench in Ottawa, but he denied it.
Eddie,
which means he's probably going there.
You know Chief well at all?
Yes. Yeah.
What do you think of him? I certain players you think were going to make great coaches. Some you don't, and some you never think about.
Here's one that
I never thought about with Chief.
Well, I'm so many guys got their chances here. Chief was here for a little while, and then they go away. Rick, so many good coaches come out of our club, in our organization. That's
a lot of coaches have, a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people have been here. Ken Hitchcock, obviously in the Hall of Fame now.
With Craig Berube, though, he was a tough individual.
Oh, yeah.
And then you say, can he play that way? And then he logs more than 10 years in, and then he continues to coach. He it just was in as good a shape as we talk about Roddy Brindamore. Chief was just like as tough and resilient and all that.
Didn't Rod Brindamore get traded to Carolina in the middle of the night, in the middle of a huge blizzard, like 25 years ago? And the first thing he did landing, when it's just everybody's happy to be alive that lands the plane, he goes to the arena at 4 o'clock in the morning, somehow finds whoever has the key and works out. It's one of the most unbelievable stories I've ever heard, just of dedication to a sport. Not that it really mattered, but it mattered to him, and that's Craig Berube.
This man had a lot of work. He worked.
Sure
You put in, and then you poor guy comes to training camp. Didn't you roll your ankle like he was playing basketball?
Yeah.
He was cut. He was in shape, and he goes at Voorhees over, and I said, thanks. I got maybe a chance of getting a seat on the bench for a couple more games.
One thing people don't
but that
realize.
was serious.
Yeah.
The hockey guys.
Yeah.
And the hockey guys play basketball before every game, shooting little threes. Every sport's got its own little things, and that's hockey. So we're going to take our final break, maybe of the season again. We could have another show next week if the Flyers manage to squeeze in. We'll talk about that on the way back. What do they have to do? Obviously win the game. We'll talk about special teams, John Tortorella, the motivation, and what it would mean to this city if the Flyers could give it a miracle and get on in. We'll talk to a couple of the players as well. This is the Independence Blue Cross on the ice from Chickies and Pete's in Malvern. We're happy to be here. We're happy to have you back in a minute. Thank you.
Hey, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's. Dive into our delectable seasonal seafood specials, including our Chickies and Pete's Sticky Lobster Tacos, succulent Brazilian tail meat in a spicy sauce, or try our Chickie and Pete's Shrimp Po' Boy, our signature fried shrimp, lettuce, roasted tomato, and a cherry pepper sauce, served on a fresh baguette. Plus, don't forget our Chickie and Pete's buy one, get one sweet and tasty snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday. Only at Chickies and Pete's.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
Head out to Dion Square, located at South Oxford Valley and South Olds Boulevard, to get all your essentials essentials in one place with the following businesses ready to serve you. Pat Dion Beverages, CVS Pharmacy, Hair Cuttery, Smile Culture Dental, Biomat, Liberty Auto Tags, Pennsylvania Fine Wine and Spirits, Lee's Hoagie House, R&J Smoothies and Juices, AutoZone, and First National Bank and Trust of Newtown. Make Dion Square your one stop for all your shopping needs at South Oxford Valley Road and South Olds Boulevard in Fairless Hills.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyer Brad Marsh.
All righty, thanks, and welcome back to what could be our final segment of the year as Ellen Foreman gets ready to take a picture with her $18,000 camera, which we always appreciate as the action always swirls around us. Whenever we have Eddie Hospodar on, and we thank all of our guests, we thank everybody who's affiliated with this show. Thank you so much to Flyers alumni. Thank you to the Flyers and Joe Seville for getting us a couple Flyers, Nick Steeler and Noah Cates. Thanks to everybody. Only one Flyer, though, Eddie, has ever been named Boxcars. And every time I ask you to explain it, I'm going to ask you again today, how does Ed Hospodar become Boxcars?
Sports writer with the Ottawa Citizens in Ottawa, Canada, wrote an article, and he described me as a runaway boxcar that I couldn't stop or turn until I hit something. Even if it was his own man, sometimes I'd go charging after a guy.
Are you guys from the same? You guys are both from Ottawa, right?
No,
I'm from London.
Oh, you're from London. You played a lot of your career. And you lived in Ottawa.
What was really unique is Brad got to play in his hometown, but our owners, he owned the two teams. Howard Darwin owned the two teams and ended up with the Ontario Championship in the OHL Junior Leagues, having us compete for the Ontario Championship. So he sold out the London building and he sold out the Ottawa building. He could plan the schedule around his building being available. It was pretty fortunate, and we packed the buildings.
Both rinks were packed, yeah.
Both rinks.
All right, guys, let's be optimistic for the last few minutes. I don't want to be hokey, but I do want to be optimistic. The fans have been great. The fans have been flocking down to a beautifully new renovated Wells Fargo Center. It looks terrible right now. It looked horrible last night. Last few games, I don't have to explain to any hockey fan. But the mathematical chance is there. Depends on other teams. The Flyers don't control their own destiny now, Brad. But what can happen tomorrow night and never give up, the Rocky mentality, the Philly mentality? How do the Flyers make the miracle happen, get in, and make something happen? It's obviously a possibility. What has to be the first shoe to drop, in your opinion?
Well, they can only worry about what they can do.
True.
And they can't, we should send a note to Wells Fargo, turn the out-of-town scoreboard off, because it's irrelevant. They can only do what they can control, and that's what they bring to the ring.
But you look,
tomorrow.
If you're a player, you see that scoreboard, it's human nature. You almost have to look, don't you?
100%.
Yep.
Yeah. That's why I said we should turn. Of course, we're in New York tomorrow, but if we win and other teams lose, on Saturday we should turn off the out-of-town scoreboard.
Eddie, the Masters starting tomorrow. Maybe the Flyers start with green jackets.
Like at Atlantic City, they got a chip and a chair.
Yep.
And if you got down to the final chip, you can say, throw it in, or just play right, wait right for your time to come and say, yes. I'd like them to, if they go out and they say, you know what, we played a great game, a great Ranger team. But when they scored that goal, that they earned that goal. Just don't give it up to them. And if you start to say we played, keep their heads up and go. And right now they still, if there's a chance, they got a chip in the chair. Just play and stay focused. But
there's a chance. I mean, John Tortorella has motivated his team all year. He has his own unique methods. He's tough. He's been a guy who always had an answer when they played whoever, switching this up, switching lines, switching D, playing from the D out. Carter Hart goes down, Sam Emerson comes in. Now he's almost left. Last night he had a look on his face like, I don't know what to do. I don't know if anybody could, but it's his job to go back. And I know I asked you this earlier, Brad, but I'm going to ask you in a different way. It's a coach's job to always have something ready that can motivate their team. Is there that something, or is it just one of those win one for the Gipper speech and go out and hope?
I don't know. I mean, I answered your question earlier, and I'll pretty much the same. Like, at this stage of the season, there's not a lot a coach can do, and we've got several great coaches there, Brad Shaw, Rocky Thompson, and so on. It's not like they're good coaches. They've been in this situation. They'll go into a dressing room and they'll say what they're going to say, but at this stage of the game, it's got to come from within. There's nothing a coach can say that's going to motivate him tomorrow. They got to go to that rink, Madison Square Garden. I used to love playing at Madison Square Garden. So
awesome.
they got to walk in and just got to just suck up the atmosphere, and hopefully the atmosphere there. The Ranger fans, they're loving it that the Flyers are losing right now. I hope the Ranger fans are rowdy as they always have been and warm up, and they're giving the raspberry to the Flyers, and that's what they got to have let the atmosphere motivate them.
Eddie, what's it like? You played in Madison Square Garden as a member of the home team, a member of the hated visiting team. What's it like for you, the Garden, and on both sides?
Back. Madison Square Gardens is still the show place. You know, it's Broadway. The ceiling that you see from, the time Wide World of Sports used to come on, and you'd see that ceiling to want to play there. Visiting teams there, though, too. It's a tough place, but if you can, you're in that game and you know you have them, it's really fun to win in the Garden. It really is.
Is it the best crowd in sports? Is it still? I mean, you got new arenas everywhere, fancy arenas, super boxes. Is it still the place everybody wants to play in sports, Brad? Everybody's watching New York. Is the number one arena in the league? Was there any way you'd like to play more than the Garden?
Well, I don't know if it's, there's so many new arenas in. I know the renovation they did there is beautiful. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about the atmosphere. I'm not necessarily talking about the seats. I'm talking about the people that are sitting in those seats. To go into the Garden, especially as a Flyer, is great. And I just hope, like I said, I hope they're geared up, them Rangers fan, and they're busting, they're yelling at the Flyers.
You could quiet them up. Timmy Kerr went in there when we were in there, and I think he had the fastest hat trick in Flyers history in Madison Square Garden.
Could they borrow Timmy Kerr for the Flyers power play? Hasn't been great all year. I'd like to have him for a couple games. Yeah. Got the wrist, got the hand still, Brad, maybe, huh?
Exactly. I'm just yesterday was an anniversary. Someone sent me the clip of Dave Brown hitting Thomas Sandstrom.
Oh, yeah.
Cross that, look, he broke his neck. Uh-huh. They should run that in New York, and then that'll get the fans jacked up, and then they'll be yelling at the Flyers fans. And it's great. Great to play there. And like I said, the atmosphere there is going to be electric, and hopefully that can motivate our fans, because Saturday night it's going to be a nervous atmosphere.
Yep. Devils and then the Caps. That's a great way to end it, guys. Thank you so much. Flyers play 3 more. They got a chance. All you need is a chance, and they make it. Great. We'll be back next week. If not, we've had a great time this year. Eddie Hospodar, we thank you so much for being here. You always add so much to the show. Let's go to the Garden. Beat your old Rangers with your Flyers tomorrow night. Best of luck in the future.
Thank you.
Brad, best of luck. Let's do it again next year. Maybe this year. Maybe a miracle happens and we can do it again.
Yes, sir.
All righty. We have so many people to thank. Thank most of them already. Chris Irmer produced this show and has produced all year. Brianne O'Neill as well. Stephen Lawler is the absolute best back at the station. Merrill Reese, Pat Dion, Matt Miro, people with WBCB, Lee Alexander. To everybody at Chickies and Pete's, especially here in Malvern. Keith, the manager. Great place, great energy. It's just been great. And let's do it again next year. For On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Of course, we want to thank our title sponsors as well. I'm Paul Jolovitz. Enjoy the hockey. Enjoy the playoffs if the Flyers aren't in it, but we hope they are. On Sports Radio WBCB, 1490 AM. And we'll hopefully be back to do it again next week. But if not, next year. Have a great hockey, everybody, and go Flyers.
You've been listening to On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Tonight's show is an exclusive presentation of 1490 WBCB and heard around the world at WBCB1490.com.